variety of transfer shows. Now, I'm sure you guys are wondering, who the bloody hell is this? I can see you guys all getting in the comments saying, this isn't Mark, this is Sander. Now, some of you know who I am. I've been on the channel a fair few times on, you know, your fan cams or your player rating shows. I also hosted a mini-series called Sander on the Street, in which I went round Old Trafford speaking to United fans about general contemporary issues. But I'm here in the studio with you guys live, right, talking about transfers. For me, it can't get better on this lovely Friday morning. How's everyone doing? Get your comments in. I can see you guys all there. You guys are all going mental. Yeah, I want to say before we do get into it, you know, I'm not here to be Goldbridge, right? I'm not here to be Goldbridge. It's a bit like when my dad moved to Spain and I got a stepdad, right? When he started to try and be my dad, I thought, what are you doing? He was saying things that my dad used to say. He was, trying to be my dad. I thought, I'm not having any of that. So I'm not here to be Goldbridge. I'm here to try and be me. But yeah, we are going to be talking about transfers today. As you can see on the screen, the man that you've never heard of before, Jadon Sancho. Of course, he's the man on everyone's lips at the moment at Manchester United. And listen, you can look at those stats there. 20 goals, 18 assists, 85% pass accuracy. The latest update from Manchester United is that Borussia Dortmund could move slightly on that 120 million euro fee that they want for him. Although they're not going to come down and meet in the middle. It will be Manchester United that will have to get up to Borussia Dortmund's sort of price range. A couple of days ago, I think yesterday, Flex was talking about a £60 million upfront fee with, installments coming in after that. And that is, of course, something that we could see happen. However, we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, I'm excited about this transfer. Let me know what you guys in the comments about Jadon Sancho, whether you want him at Manchester United. I certainly do. There was calls for him to potentially, for the transfer to be put on hold when Mason Greenwood was pulling up trees. And, although Mason Greenwood playing fantastically well, and I absolutely don't want to see Mason Greenwood's progression and development halted at Manchester United, Jadon Sancho is absolutely a player that I want to see arrive at Old Trafford. He brings so much quality. You can see he's, 19, 20 years of age, he's a right winger, a side that we need to be strengthening. As you can see there, 20 goals, 18 assists, 2.1 key passes per game. He's creating, he's taking risks, he's a leader. He showed bravery, right, from moving from Manchester City at such a young age to a foreign country, to Germany. That shows bravery, and that shows that shows a level of leadership and strength in character that I think you need to be a player at Manchester United. And in regards to that Mason Greenwood thing, right, a lot of people, as you say, I don't want to see Jadon Sancho play for Manchester United or sign for Manchester United because Mason Greenwood's progression will be halted. And I do think that's a bit of a false argument because, yes, Mason Greenwood might not get as many starts as he might do. However, as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said after the Leicester game, we're now going to be in the Champions League, which means that, every single week you're going to be playing 3 odd games, League, Champions League, where you're going to have to be putting your starting 11 out, your biggest and best, strongest team. Let me just turn the volume up. One moment. Yeah, your biggest and best, strongest team. And so, you cannot be playing the likes of Daniel James or Jesse Lingard, Andreas Pereira, players of those quality. You're going to need to be playing Jadon Sancho's, your Mason Greenwoods. So what do you guys think of that in the comments? People are saying slow down. I do apologise. Little bit of nerves, little bit of just being me, right? Because I am very high energy. That is, I'm not sure if I've got ADHD or not. A lot of people think I do. So, I've never been tested. What could that change? But, yeah, Mark is having the morning off as the United stand says. He's away, having a great time, on holiday. He's loving it. People saying slow down. All right, take a deep breath. But yeah, Jadon Sancho, listen, I'm very excited. 120 million euros or around 100 million pounds is a lot of money to play for a player. However, I do think it is a price that Manchester United should really be paying because despite coronavirus, I do think that we can afford him. And I do think that Jadon Sancho is a player that Manchester United need at the club. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to see what you guys are saying. Doing well, bro. Thank you, guys. You guys are all saying calm down. Calm down. Anyway, moving on. Moving on from Jadon Sancho is this man, Jack Grealish. 10 goals, 6 assists. The leader, the captain, the legend at Aston Villa. Is that right? I'm not sure whether he's a legend at Aston Villa or not, but regardless, he is a big player at that club, and he is their captain, but he is a player that Manchester United want to see bring to Old Trafford this season. £80 million, as you can see there, is the sort of rumoured fee that we'd have to pay for him. And for me, Listen, that's a bit steep, isn't it? I know we were talking about 120 million euros for Jadon Sancho, but Jadon Sancho for me seems like a level above Jack Grealish. Maybe that's an unpopular opinion, I'm not sure, but it does seem like a level above. And regardless, I feel that right-hand side is a position that we need to strengthen further than that central attacking midfielder role. Obviously, we've got Bruno there, £80 million for a player that would really come in and just sit on the bench isn't ideal. Obviously, again, similarly to Jadon Sancho, I would have him at Manchester United, absolutely, and he would create competition for places. He is a step up of what we've got on the bench already. But £80 million for a player that, is only coming from Aston Villa. And to be honest, when I've watched him play, he seems to just draw a lot of fouls. Do you know what I mean? No doubting, he's an absolutely fantastic player, and he would do great at Manchester United, as you can see there. 2.5 key passes per game, 2 shots, 2 dribbles per game. 85% pass accuracy. He is their man. But there's no doubt for me that when I see him play, he is a lot of just sort of running, drawing fouls. There you go. We've got a contribution here from Josh Sutton saying, mate, you're quicker than Speedy Gonzalez. All jokes aside, nice work taking over this segment. Thanks, pal. I really do appreciate that. I'm sure as time goes on and as I start to stream a bit more, I will calm down a little bit more, talk a bit more like this. But for the moment, we're high energy. We're excited to be on the channel. And yeah, looking forward to it. But Jack Grealish, I want to know what you guys think. I think, listen, when we saw towards the end of the season, Bruno Fernandes, he looked tired, didn't he? He did really look tired, and I did feel sorry for him at times. Listen, his name's Bruno Fernandes, so you couldn't really change him regardless of who you had on the bench. But if you did have a Jack Grealish on the bench, I would probably look to rotate with that. And again, similarly to the Jadon Sancho situation, we've got Champions League football next season. I don't know if you guys knew that, by the way. Any Arsenal fans or Spurs fans or Leicester fans or anyone out there, we've got Champions League football next season in third, right? So we will be having to play our strongest team every week, right? And so, you're looking at playing maybe Bruno Fernandes and, Mason Greenwood on the right-hand side in the Premier League. However, then you go to the Champions League and then you play Jack Grealish and Jadon Sancho. That's a fantastic bit of rotation. Can you imagine against West Ham if we had Grealish and Mason Greenwood on the bench rather than having to bring on Andreas Pereira and Jesse Lingard? The difference is there, and that's what the top teams have got. Yes, Liverpool haven't necessarily got the greatest strength in depth, although they have got good quality players all over the pitch. But Manchester City, certainly, you look at their team, they've got Gabriel Jesus, Mahrez, Aguero, David Silva, who's now gone, obviously, Bernardo Silva. These are the sorts of caliber of players in numbers that you need to be successful at the top, and that's what we're trying to aim for, isn't it? Sander doesn't need coffee. Coffee needs Sander. Exactly. I was thinking, I had a poor night's sleep last night, a bit worried, about this sort of thing. And I thought, should I have a coffee this morning? If I did, it would have been a bad idea. Mark's assigned for Sky Sports, people are saying in the comments. Not quite yet, although I'm sure that, the bag would be rather nice there. I like the way you talk. You're doing a good job. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate your comments. Let's get some football comments in. I saw some people say Danny van der Beek should be a player that we need to look at. Now, that might be something that we talk about later. But finally, on Jack Grealish, is a big up to the United stand. Enough of that. I love your support, guys. I really do appreciate it. But lastly, on Jack Grealish, listen, on his character himself, on one hand, he is that leader for Aston Villa. He is that catalyst. He is that creative man, the man who will pick up the ball for them, score the goal, assist, and win the game for you. And that's great to see. That's what we want to see at Manchester United. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's actually, if you noticed, he's been recruiting captains, pretty much. Harry Maguire, captain at Leicester. Bruno Fernandes, captain at Sporting Lisbon. You go and get Jack Grealish, captain at Aston Villa. So that is a great thing to see, and I really like the emphasis Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has put on trying to get people with the right character. However, from a purely objective, naive, ignorant point of view, when you see him doing all this, like when you see, do you know what I mean? When you see him trying hard to, my socks, I want to lower the machines, mate, and all this sort of stuff, you do sort of think, is that the man you want at United? However, as I said, he is their leader and is their captain. Whether he's their legend or not, I'm not sure. But that's what I'd have to say on Jack Grealish. Moving on to some of your suggestions. This man, Donny van der Beek, Ajax player, of course. I've got Dutch parents, so he's a fellow Dutchman, which is good. 14 goals, 7 assists. As you can see there, he is a midfielder. He's very versatile. Voice break. He is very versatile, Donny van de Beek. Can attack, can create chances, do it at the highest level in the Champions League, what we saw when Ajax had that great run. But he can also, play slightly deeper, be that, archetypal box-to-box player that Manchester United have sort of got in Paul Pogba. I think he could sort of fit that role where he can pick it up from deep and make the plays from there, but he can also make runs into the box and score goals and create chances when needs be. Now, as you can see, he would come at a cheaper price than £80 million is what Jack Grealish should be going for. But whether he's got the same caliber of player, I'm not sure. He isn't Premier League proven. However, he is a player that the top clubs in Europe have been looking for. Real Madrid have been looking after him. Not looking after him. He's not their child. They've been looking for him, right? So if we were to go for him at Manchester United, I don't think it'd be a bad signing at all. And on Jack Grealish and Jadon Sancho, of course, you'd be paying, if you paid 100 million for Jadon Sancho and then, 80 million for Jack Grealish, you're paying 180 million on two players that really have no guarantee of succeeding, not because they're poor players in a sense, but, not everyone's Bruno Fernandes. Not everyone comes in and does it. Every transfer, in a sense, has a huge element of risk to it. So when you're dishing out 180 million on two players alone, that's never a good sign in a sense. I'm sure they could deal with, especially Jadon Sancho, could deal with the pressure of the price tag, and I'm sure the number 7 that he would get. But 180 million on two players is a lot. So rather than Jack Grealish, maybe you could be looking at Donny van de Beek as a replacement for him, or a replacement or an alternative to him. And I think that is definitely something I'd be looking at. What do you guys think in the comments? Am I right? Am I wrong? I want to know all your opinions. We're going to be interacting. That's what United Stand's all about, isn't it? Interactivity, conversation. You get other channels, we won't name it, but you get other channels where pre-record and they're not interacting with people in the chat. That's what we do. We chat, we have a conversation, and have an open dialogue, and I think that's the beauty of this channel. Donny the Beast, James Mapoko says, Donny the Beast, yeah, well, listen, obviously he's talking about Donny van de Beek, not me, as in the Donny, but Donny van de Beek, he's done it at the highest level. Again, Jack Grealish, you might make an argument for him in the fact that he's Premier League proven, and Donny van de Beek isn't, but I do think Donny van de Beek is proven at the highest level, at Champions League level, scored against Spurs in that Champions League run, and really should have been part of a team that should have got to the Champions League final, really. So we need defenders. We'll get onto that. Don't worry. We'll get onto that. People saying that they like Van de Beek. Yeah, I sort of agree with you, to be fair. Like, for me, from a personal opinion, you either get Jack Grealish or Donny van de Beek or James Maddison. Any one of those three players, and we're laughing. We really are laughing, because despite Bruno Fernandes being our man, there's no doubt the fact that if we put our strongest 11 out, Bruno Fernandes starts, there's always going to be rotation needed, as I said before. These players create competition for places, which means that even if Jack Grealish or Donny van de Beek or James Maddison isn't starting, you get a better Bruno Fernandes for them, simply being there and testing them in training. And then hopefully as well, with Jack Grealish's, captain status and Donny van de Beek being a big player at Ajax, hopefully they can bring that leadership into the team, into the changing room, where they can really, again, spur other people on and create an atmosphere of winning. And I think that's what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is really trying to do. I really like, if you guys don't know, I'm a big fan of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, as I'm sure most of you are, to be fair, as well. And one thing that has impressed me the most about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been his ability and willingness and necessity of vetting players, not simply based on their ability, because the likes of Di Maria and Falcao, these are all great players, but he's assessing them on their personality too. Would they fit the Manchester United culture? Would they fit into this particular group of players? And I really like that from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, whereas before, under Louis van Gaal or David Moyes even, you're signing players where, listen, as I said, there's no doubt that Di Maria is a fantastic player, one of the best in the world. Van Persie said the other day on the United MUTV podcast that he is, one of the best players he's ever played with. And I don't think any of us can disagree with that, as much as we dislike the guy. He is a fantastic player, but he didn't fit Manchester. There's, things coming out that him and his missus didn't like the weather. He didn't like the food. They didn't like the people. These are all sorts of things that you need to vet. You need to look at in a player before you sign them for £80 million, So, Hardwick says, you've got a future in hosting, mate. Great energy. That's a £3 or £4 donation. I really do appreciate that. Everyone that gets the donations in, I really do appreciate it. If I'm a bit slow with reading out 1 or 2 donations, I do apologise again. This is my first time at Manchester United. I wish I was at Manchester United. At the United stand streaming, so I might be a little bit behind the usual standards of Mark Goldbridge. But I'll get there. Treat me as your young player. You know, you've got to nurture me. I've got development. I'm not quite there, but I've got a good resale value. Do you know what I mean? Here, Marie says, Sancho, Van der Beek and Torres. On defenders then, if we have a little look here. Gabriel, Dos Santos, Magalh&atilde. I'm not pronouncing. I'm not pronouncing that. Let's call him Gabriel or Gabriel. Obviously a Brazilian player, 22 years old, had a fantastic season at Lille. 1.8 tackles per game, 81% passing, and 1 foul per game. So he's not too rash. Hopefully, I'd be lying to you if I said that I'd watch this guy week in, week out. I'd also be lying to you if I said I'd ever watched him play, right? Now, I do like to sort of have the idea that I know a bit about football, but I don't know too much about this Gabriel fella. I have looked him up. I have done my research. He can play either side of the defence. He is 6'3". He is 22, and he does make 3.3 clearances per game. Regardless, what I like about these sort of reports, the fact that United, alongside Everton and Napoli, are monitoring, quote-unquote, Gabriel. What I like about that is the fact that United are clearly looking at a centre-back, because there's been a lot of chat about Grealish, about Sancho, about Donny van der Beek, about James Maddison, about Raul Jimenez, who we'll talk about later, but we haven't heard too much on Koulibaly, on Gabriel. We haven't heard too much on centre-backs. And so the fact that these reports are now coming out is promising, isn't it? Because despite Harry Maguire being the captain of the club and being a great player, and I think he is the man to take us forward and hopefully win a league with us, the man next to him, I think, from my point of view, still has a lot of questions around him. Victor Lindelof. Now, there's no doubt there's a lot of good aspects to Victor Lindelof. He can play the ball quite well, and that's about it. I'm joking. He is a good player. However, I do think that there either needs to be competition for places created there or a replacement brought in. Now, those are the 2 points I'll keep going to with transfers. People say that, Gary Neville said it the other day. I think Manchester United should sign a striker. Not because I want Martial to be displaced, but because I think there needs to be a better strength in depth and a competition for places. And I think that's what signings always bring, and Gabriel would most definitely bring that. Do you guys know anything about Gabriel? Has any of you seen him play? Is any of you a fan of Ligue 1? I am not, right? I'll be honest with you. I don't profess to be a football expert. I'm a football fan. So I don't watch Ligue 1 week in, week out. But I've done my research, as I said. Mark's sunbathing today. Yeah, he's getting those sort of tan lines. He loves them. The bikini ones. He loves that. Van der Beek, Grealish, we are becoming Brexit FC. Van der Beek's touch. Van der Beek's touch. We've got a donation here from Joel Morris saying Raul Jimenez from Wolves would be perfect for United. On Raul Jimenez then. We haven't got a slide for him. I do apologise. Drawty, the graphic designer. You're lacking, mate. You're slacking. But Raul Jimenez, obviously, apparently the reports of him joining United aren't true. And so, obviously, this comes to news to us all. And on Raul Jimenez, I would say that, listen, I'm not upset that we're not getting him, but I wasn't upset when we were getting him. I think, again, we need strength and depth up front. I think Martial's a fantastic player and Rashford could do a job up front. But Ighalo goes in January, and past that point, you're looking at, you need strength in depth, right? And Raul Jimenez has done it in the Premier League for a long time. He's a goal scorer. He's got that grit to him. And I would have liked to see him being brought to Manchester United. But, alas, it's not going to happen. However, what is good, again, to see is that the reports are along the same lines, right? The reports are along the same lines. They're looking for that slightly older striker. And I do think that's what you need, a slightly older striker, because in defence, you've got Harry Maguire and you've got Victor Lindelof. Now, those two players are in their late 20s, right? In the late 20s. So, who are you looking to bring in? Not someone in their 30s. You're looking to bring in someone who's around 22, as Gabriel is. How is up front? You're looking at Martial, 23, 24, Rashford, 21, 22. you're going to be looking to get someone in like a Garlo, like a Raul Jimenez, who's slightly older, right, who can come in, do a job, and not really displace the place of Martial, Greenwood, and Rashford in the long term, but simply aid them in the short term. And that's why I like the signs of Raul Jimenez. Again, back onto Gabriel in that centre-back position then. 20 million is the price you'd have to pay for Gabriel, which isn't too much. However, you know, his alternative, Koulibaly, you'd have to dish out 120 million for him. For a, 29, 30-year-old who's got, if he gets one big injury, he's got a year left in the tank and you paid 120 million for him. Now, of course, if he wins us a league, no one's moaning at that point. However, with Harry Maguire, with Victor Lindelof, I'd like to see us go for something slightly younger, slightly more immature, with a room for development, and follow the similar lines that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been doing so far. How's everyone doing in the comments? What do you guys think of what I've been... Have I been chatting waffle? I don't know. Let me know if I've been chatting waffle or not. I tend to do that, to be fair. I tend to chat waffle, to be honest. Rude Hullet, lookalike. Anton is moving to City. What's he on about? I'd have Donny van de Beek over Grealish. Yeah, that is an interesting one, isn't it? Donny van de Beek over Grealish. We talked about him a second ago. And to be honest, if I was Manchester United, I probably would go with that. Not if they were both free. If it's both basing them off an equal basis, I'd probably go with Jack Grealish, to be fair. Captain of his club, Premier League proven. I think he's got slightly more attacking abilities than Donny van de Beek. Donny van de Beek's a little bit more box-to-box. He's a little bit more versatile in that sense, which isn't a bad thing, but it's also not always a great thing. Jack Grealish, I guess, has got a little bit more of a direct position, a bit more of an attacking threat. So if they were both presented to me, I'd probably pick Jack Grealish. However, if you're paying £18 million for him, or 50 or 40 for Donny van de Beek, on top of the £100 million for Jadon Sancho, for me, I'd go Donny van de Beek. And so, but that's me. Listen, if we get Jack Grealish for 80 and then Sancho for 100 and we spend 108 million on two players, I'd go, we're acting like a big club. Well done, Manchester United and Ed Woodward. So I wouldn't be complaining at all. It's not my money. To be honest, I don't care how much we spend so long as we get back to winning league titles. However, if you look at it from a pragmatic point of view, you probably would be slightly concerned if we were dishing out 180 million on two players. Not only that, it's coronavirus, right? These are the times. This is a coronavirus sort of pandemic era where we thought we would see the market come down considerably. Borussia Dortmund saying that isn't going to happen with Jadon Sancho, and that it will be that 120 million euro fee. That's worrying. That's worrying. If we're still paying over the odds, that's worrying, not only, in the sense that you're spending a lot of money on two players, but also you're getting your pants pulled down like that. It's worrying for future negotiations, because other clubs, even though they know Manchester United have got money, other clubs can go, well, listen, you've paid 180 million. You've paid 80 million for Jack Grealish, 100 million for a 19-year-old Jadon Sancho who scored a couple goals in Borussia Dortmund despite his talent. Why aren't you paying, 120 for Koulibaly? Or why aren't you paying 40 for Gabriel? You can't really get your pants pulled down, and I think like that. And I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been good at that at Manchester United in sticking to our guns and saying, no, we're not going to overpay for players like we used to. But when you really want a player like Jadon Sancho, you might end up doing it. Yogesh, thanks for your contribution. Again, we've got a new member. Can I see? There you go. Sergio Perez, thanks for being the latest member of the Manchester United, or the United Stand Members Club. We really do appreciate it. And, I was about to read out a donation, but it's just disappeared. But Yogesh says, Sancho 60 million with add-ons, Van de Beek 40 million, Partey 40 million, and a centre-back using the money from player sales. Then we can have quality, depth, and balance in our squad. Elite players with Champions League experience. Yogesh, you just want to do this job then, because you hit the nail on the head. What am I sitting here for? Let's all just say, yes, Yogesh. We love you, Yogesh, right? Because that is a great comment. I think that's spot on. You bring in Jadon Sancho for how much did he say? 60 million plus instalments. Thomas Partey's a nice holding midfielder. That's what I think as well with signings. You'd look to get an attacking midfielder in. You look to get a right winger in, a centre back in. But I also think we need that Matic situation sorted out. Fairly soon, because listen, McTominay's a great player and I'm a big fan of his, but whether his future lies as that rock in the midfield, that central defensive midfielder, I'm not sure. And if it does he have that quality that Matic has to go out and win a title? Again, the jury's out, despite, as I said, loving McTominay, academy graduate, always gives his heart and his best for the team, which is so good to see. he's not Matic, or he's not Matic yet, right? And so we definitely need to either commit to Scott McTominay, or we need to get a central defensive midfielder to replace Nemanja Matic. So that is another position I'd look to seek out to try and sort out. Yeah, everyone's saying big up Yogesh, but no, I mean, Yogesh, listen, Yogesh, you guys all know Yogesh by now. He's contributed. He's a top man. He's hit the nail on the head. Yeah, Yogesh to replace me. That's what I think. I mean, I don't know what I'm doing here. Yogesh is the man. Better central defensive midfielder. Indeed, he would be perfect, strong, and would provide our defence and midfield with more security. I'd absolutely agree with that. Indeed, he would be a fantastic player for Manchester United. And there was a time where I thought, we'll go and get Maddison, and the fact that we've gone and got Harry Maguire, Maddison, and then gone in for Ndidi as well, sort of worried me. You can't pull their pants down. You can't go and take 3 of their players, or it'd be difficult to do rather. But now that we haven't done that, you can go in and get Ndidi. Whether he'd want to leave or not, I don't know. And that sounds mental. Okay, that does sound mental. Leicester for Manchester United. Of course, Manchester United is a massive draw for some players. But if we're not going to be paying him over the odds and this sort of thing, then Leicester is an exciting project at the moment, regardless of how big United are. Leicester is an exciting project, and Europa League with them could be the right move for him. How much he'd start at Manchester United again is up for debate. But then again, what am I saying? It's Manchester United, for God's sake. It's Manchester United, for God's sake. This is the nature of doing sort of conversations. I know I've got you there, but talking on your own, you end up just talking to yourself and arguing with yourself. Have you ever considered a career as a horse race caller? Please call me a prat. Josh Sutton? You're a prat. No, I've never considered a horse race calling. It's not something that I considered, when, I want to be a doctor, mum. Oh, that's nice. I want to be a vet, mum. Oh, that's nice. I want to be a horse race caller, mum. Like, that didn't really happen. But regardless, there you go. Thanks, Arthur, for joining the United Stand membership, becoming the new member of the United Stand. Bingo caller. Oh, what's going on here? Anyway, moving on from Gabriel then. Pau Torres, another player that I haven't seen play for Manchester United, but another for Manchester United. He's not signed for us yet. Another player that I haven't seen play for their club because I'll be honest with you, I don't watch Villarreal week in, week out. But again, similarly to Gabriel, I have done my research on him. 23 years old, 1 year older than Gabriel. Again, the reports are positive. The reports are exciting. The fact that we're looking at young centre-backs rather than your 100 million for Koulibaly is positive for me, because despite Koulibaly being a fantastic player and being great in the short term, Axel Twanzebe, the jury's out. He's been injured all season and played 5 games total for United. Captain United against Rochers at the game. But the jury's out on his ability, right? So we don't really have any young up-and-coming centre-backs that could be there with Harry Maguire long-term. I think Koulibaly could do it within the first 1 or 2 years. But after that, you're looking at his legs going, gets a good injury, not a good injury, a long-term injury, a year, maybe even 6 months. You're not getting your bang for your buck in that case. I don't know why I said it like that. But so yeah, Pau Torres, I'd be looking at players like this, like Gabriel, like Pau Torres. That doesn't mean that we go and say, oh my God, if we don't sign Pau Torres, we're going to be the worst team ever and we'll never win another trophy. It's not how it works. It's easy for people to see links to a player that, they've never seen play, but then they automatically think, oh my God, if we don't go and get Pau Torres, we'll never win another game ever. Do you know what I mean? That's not the situation. However, he would be a good addition to the team. 2 goals. He's a prolific centre-back. 1 tackle per game, 85 passes per game, and 0.9 fouls per game. So he's a player that's involved. He is a player that has served Villarreal well. I was reading up as I was researching last night a Villarreal forum in America. It was the American Villarreal supporters group. So you learn something new every day. But I was reading that, and they were saying about Pau Torres, they think he's a great player, but they don't want to see us take him from him because they said that, when they took Eric Bailly from us, they've continuously bought over him, and, we don't want to see another talent go to waste. Well, do you know what, Eric Bailly? Stay fit. Do you know what I mean? I'm a big fan of Eric Bailly. When he came to the club, he's clearly got talent, although I thought that rash nature would eventually sort of ebb, but it hasn't really done that, hasn't it? He's always on something. He's mental, isn't he? Which is a good thing, but I would have liked to see a little bit more composure develop in him as he matured slightly, but that hasn't happened, and he's just been plagued with injuries, so it's not really that Manchester United have bought over him for the sake of buying over him. We've not gone, that Eric Bailly fella, yeah? We're going to buy him in, right, yeah? Then when we buy him in, we're just going to buy over him, just waste more of our money. That's not what's happened. He's just constantly not either been up to the scratch, or he's just been injured. So, Pau Torres, don't worry, Villarreal fans. We're not out to get you. But, what do you guys think about Pau Torres, Gabriel Magalh&atilde? I'm not going to say that surname. What do you guys think of these players? Pau Torres is crap in the air. Again, I haven't watched him play too much, if I'm absolutely honest with you. However, I'm not sure. Listen, your centre-back always needs to be good in the air. However, Harry Maguire is the man that we can designate to your big striker, and Pau Torres, could be that slightly more ball-playing centre-back. However, that is my criticism of Victor Lindelof, that he's a little bit of a, how do I say this without getting the stream taken down? He is a bit of a softie. That's how I'd say it. He's a bit of a softie, isn't he? He'd go up for a header. Sometimes he just looks like he wants to duck out of it a little bit. So if Pau Torres is of a similar nature, I'd be a bit concerned. But we'll have to wait and see, won't we? Apparently Flex is in the chat. Yes, Flex, I'm coming for your job. That's a joke. No one worry. Yeah, that's a joke, all right? I'm not coming for your job. There's enough room. There's enough food at the table to eat for all, all right? I love you, Flex. I appreciate you. Flex is a big inspiration to me, I'd say. Come on the United stand, done a fantastic job, and he's great at what he does, isn't he? Who's this bloke? He sounds like he supports Chelsea. Well, the thing is, this is something you get, people first of all think that Manchester United fans need to be from Manchester. They don't. But secondly, I just do live in Manchester. I've got a season ticket, so, there you go. Son, you're doing well. Need a Vidic-style centre-back with pace. Yeah, I'd agree, but then you're basically saying that we need the best centre-back in the world. It's like going, we need Cristiano Ronaldo type player with Lionel Messi dribbling abilities. Well, yeah, you are right, but that's not that easy to do, is it? So you kind of got to give and take a little bit. But no, absolutely, a player like that, a player like Nemanja Vidic and Maldini combined wouldn't be bad, would it? But I think you are right though in regards to pace. You probably would want a pacey player because far too often we've seen Harry Maguire kind of get got at a little bit pace-wise, and Victor Lindelof isn't that fast or fast enough to recover for him. So, yeah, I probably would go with a faster player than him. But what you guys said in the comments? Someone said, "UTF is this?" I'm Sander Seegers. Done a few Sander on the streets, fan cams, player ratings, that sorts of things. I'm not here to replace Goldbridge. I'm not here to replace Flex. I'm not even here to replace Saeed. However, I am here to be myself. And so, love me or leave me, I guess. Hopefully you'll love me. Sander will be reading out this super chat shortly. Oh, yeah, have I missed some? Sorry, guys. As I said, I'm a novice. Here we go. Okay, we've got one. Here. Saw the pic of him in a City shirt. Man, he looked miserable. Unfortunately, the conversation's moved past that point to such an extent that I can't remember what you're referencing. However, I really do appreciate the contribution to the channel. Let me just flick down the comments there. It is really appreciated, so thanks to everyone that has contributed. Guys, I can't see any more contributions. Okay, we've got one here. We've got one. All right, I do apologise. A fast CDM would cover our centre-backs. Ideally, you'd have a fast CDM and a couple of good centre backs, right? So I think that central defensive midfielder position does certainly need to be sorted out within the near future, because I think Matic can do a job for us next year, absolutely, and I think he arguably comes in to our first starting best 11. But whether he does that every single game throughout the entirety of the season, the answer to that is no. I was going to say is unlikely. The answer to that is no, because as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said, we have got Champions League football now. We can't go out into the Europa League now midweek and play, whoever it might be, Dylan Levitt, like we did against Astana. You're going to the Bernabeu away, or you're going to, wherever it might be, in the Champions League against top European elite sides. So even if you go out and play McTominay, there's a danger that you might get shafted, really. If McTominay is the player that we want to see play, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer thinks is the man to play in that central defensive midfielder role in the long term, then absolutely go and play him. Okay, we might get beat a couple times. We might not have the best run in the Champions League. However, if he feels like Scott McTominay is his man in the future, let him get that experience, man. I'm not bothered. If he's got a plan on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and he's got a process, let him go and do that. But if not, then I'd definitely go and look and get someone else in. Amiros Parser, £5 contribution, absolutely, massively appreciated. We really, really do appreciate your contributions. He says, collar up like you're about to go for a straightener after Millwall away. Big up on presented, mate. Thank you, pal. The thing is with this, right, you can't really, what can you do? What are you supposed to do with that? Like, you know what? I guess that looks all right, actually. Anyway, I really appreciate your contribution and your support. Nuno Mendes, left back from Sporting, can't rely on Williams. The left back position, get your comments in. I think it's an interesting one. I think Shaw played very, very well towards the latter stages of the season. And I think Shaw, for me, showed enough, as I said, in the latter stages of the season for me to put my trust in him going into next season. And Williams, I'd like to see I'd like to see Shaw and Williams be the two left backs, to be honest. I know you can't trust Williams yet, but he is a young player. I think you rotate Shaw and Williams, and I think that's good enough. Maybe that's not Trent Alexander-Arnold or Robertson or, these sorts of players. But I think they are good enough with the potential to get better to be playing for Manchester United at the moment. And I like Williams. He's a Manchester lad. And I've got sort of, connections to him in some way. My mates. Anyway. Right, we've got another contribution. Guys, this whole show is just going to be contributions. You guys are way too good. A good central defensive midfielder replacement for Matic would be Sander Berg. He has all the qualities and more, and only 21 years old. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait to see. He's just signed for Sheffield United. We'll have to wait and see how he does at Sheffield United. You can't make a decision on him that early. If he does 3-4 years there and Sheffield United stay up and he sort of moves into that central defensive midfielder role, then absolutely we can look at him. And I'm sure there'll be loads of memes with my name in it. However, at the moment, it's just way too quick, isn't it? Alec Williams, again, thank you for your contribution. It says Sander the Saviour. Not quite, mate. I'd go with hero. No, it's a joke. That's a joke. Yeah, I really appreciate all your support. It is, as I said, massively appreciated. Get in. I want to know who you guys, other than the people that we've talked about today, who you guys want to see signed for Manchester United. John Paul says Davies from Bayern. Absolutely. And there was actually rumours that came out, reports that came out the other day saying that Manchester United missed out on the opportunity to sign Alphonso Davies a couple of years back. Now, these sorts of stories always come out, don't they? You always hear of, they missed out on the chance to sign Mbappe when he was 5. Do you know what I mean? You always hear that. But, whether that's true or not, regardless, Alphonso Davies is a fantastic player. The issue is, I just don't think you get him from Bayern Munich. You don't. He's just too good. And if you do, you're paying so much money for him. It'd be ridiculous. It'd be unfair. Omar says, how you get season tickets? It's a hard process. The United stand have the best hosts. They each have their own personality, making it way more fun. That is the good thing, isn't it? We're starting to diversify with the amount of people on the channel. It's fantastic. And you know what? If it wasn't for you guys, none of us would be able to do it. Can you imagine me sitting here like this, talking by myself to the screen, to the camera like that? What fun is there in that? It's boring, mate. So without you guys, we absolutely couldn't do it. You sound like a conductor, but Grealish should get out of Aston Villa. That's an interesting point. Apparently, yeah, so we talked about Grealish earlier. I'm sure I could get him up. Here he is. We talked about Grealish earlier, and despite Aston Villa wanting £80 million, I wouldn't go more than 50, 60 million, to be honest. But is there a situation where we could potentially see Jack Grealish start to protest or sort of sit out a little bit? Sometimes you see players when they really want to leave. You see them take time out of training or something like that. Is there a situation where we could see that happen? I'm not sure. To be honest, I don't think so, because Jack Grealish, he is their captain. He is a fan of Aston Villa. I'm sure he'll want it to go smoothly, and I'm sure Aston Villa want it to go smoothly. So maybe that's a situation where you can sort of hustle them a little bit and just sort of lowball them, give them 65, 70, and say we're not going over that. They don't want it to get untidy. Jack Grealish doesn't want it to get untidy. Maybe they'll sell him at that point, Tommy B says, we need more transfer videos with Sander. What a guy. That's a contribution from you. I really appreciate that, mate. I will be back on the channel, hopefully, if I've not been sacked yet. We will be back on the channel in the near future, so get your support in. Let Goldbridge and Drawty know that, you want me back on, because without you guys, I wouldn't be here, to be honest. If all of you are going, who's this guy, like it was at the beginning, then I wouldn't be here. So, there you go. Sander, what signings would you make? Keep up the great work, bro. Thank you. I really do appreciate that. I'd go with Jadon Sancho, Jack Grealish, depending on the price. I wouldn't go above 65 million. I'd go for, ideally, again, I'm almost talking like it's Football Manager, like you can just go out and pick players. Ndidi at central defensive midfielder, and then I'd go out and get a good young and up-and-coming centre-back who can really put the pressure on Victor Lindelof. And then obviously you go and get rid of Phil Jones, Chris Smalling, you make that loan permanent. You obviously get rid of Sanchez up front. But you sort all that out, and those are the players that I'd go with. To be honest, I've talked. It wouldn't be fair if I didn't touch on David De Gea as well. I have talked on him in the past. Maybe it's a conversation for a different time, but there's definitely question marks over him. And finally, we've got a contribution for Aljit Pal. I really do appreciate you, pal. Appreciate you guys. I'm going to check out now. We've done about 40 minutes, which I think is enough transfer talk for one day. But I'm sure there'll be various live shows at different stages throughout the day. So do stay tuned for that. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. We appreciate all you members out there. We appreciate all you contributors out there. And, of course, we appreciate all you watching out there. So we really appreciate it, guys. I hope you have enjoyed my first ever show on the United Stand. I'm rusty. I've got room for development. I might make a few mistakes here and there. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed it to the point where I'm not getting sacked. We'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching. And, yeah, as I said, I'll speak to you all soon. Ta-da!